So I just want to get on here and just say one thing real quick. Like the one thing I just want to say is just basically don't let nobody discredit your dreams. You know, don't let nobody discredit what you got going on. And I say that just to say because it's like there's a lot of people out here that's willing to do that. You get me? Like they say negative things or they try to input negative things into your brain, and it's like once they get that, you know, like once they get in here, it's like, you know, you start questioning yourself, and you start questioning your worth, and you start questioning, am I doing what's correct, right? It's like, no, don't, you know, like don't, like discredit that, dismiss it. You get me? Let that go in one ear and out the other, because it's like we need that. I'm like, at this point in the day, it's like I know my value, I know what I'm worth, and I know that nobody can tell me who I am and what I can do. You get me? I'm just saying, like, it's just a few examples, like, you know, like, I'm like dealing with myself. Just a few examples. It's just, you know, like at the end of the day, you only go through so much. You get me? And at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself. So if you didn't feel like you succeeded today, then, you know, like, it's you to sit there and in being that's gonna say that you didn't succeed today, or you didn't do what you wanted to do today, or you didn't, you know what I mean? Like, you could have did more. And I mean, for somebody to sit there and come along and just discredit you, you know, they just put you down even more. Excuse me. They just put you down even more. It's like, I'm just saying, just it's straightforward. It's just like, don't let people discredit your dreams. You get me? That's straightforward, nitty gritty. That's it. You get me? I'm saying, don't let people discredit who you are. You get me? Because you only have your integrity to stand on. You get me? You only have your character to stand on. And that being said, it's like anything else is just next. You get me? Like, when people come, you have to go home with yourself. You get me? And when people try to test your character or test your credit or test your integrity, you know, that hit different, because then the whole world gonna look at you like, oh, you is that person, or oh, you ain't trustworthy. You get me? Your integrity is something that you're supposed to stand on and keep it high, because at the end of the day, you want that to be your name. You know what I mean? Your name is your name, but your integrity and your character is a whole bunch more. You get me? People know that, and people stand on that, and they refer to you as such. You get me? They know they can mess with you because they trust you. You get me? Like, everything, integrity, you know, your character, your trust, that goes hand in hand. Everything goes hand in hand. And if they can't trust you, they're not gonna mess with you. You get me? So don't let anybody discredit what you got going on for yourself, because at the end of the day, what yourself got going on, you know how far you gonna take that. You get me? I'm like, at the end of the day, I started realizing, like, when you thinking and yourself is telling you some things, you know, the hardest part that people got, like, going on right now is this downtime listening to themselves. You get me? Like, nobody wants to listen to themselves. People think it's the hardest activity to do. It's just to listen to themselves. I'm saying, like, you know, like, most people think first they going crazy, but second they're like, I don't know how to, or I don't, like, they always discredit that they don't know how to. There's always a time and a place to learn. You get me? You're always going to have to test yourself. You're always going to have to sit there and hop over the next threshold. You're always going to have to move a mountain, aka Miley Cyrus. You get me? Like, there's always something that's going to be in your way from getting from point A to point B. But it's like, if you don't allow yourself that opportunity to grow, then you're never going to be anything. You get me? You have to take yourself out of that comfort zone. You have to listen to yourself, and you have to sit over here and push forward. You get me? Don't allow anybody to sit there and tell you about you, because guess what? You're the only one walking in these shoes. You don't make yourself uncomfortable. You get me? Like, when you start making yourself uncomfortable, then that's when you get your most clearest thoughts. You get me? Like, everything up here is clear. And I can honestly say, look, I made a big ass move. And this move right here, I'm so uncomfortable right now. And it's not because, like, okay, my home is comfortable, but I'm uncomfortable because this is a whole new environment for me. But right here, everything is clear now. Everything, I sit here and I go with my first mind every step of the way. And I know what I've done is correct. I know what I'm doing is correct. I know that every move I make, I can follow myself and trust myself, because guess what? You got to trust yourself before you can trust anybody. You got to, you know, your integrity, again, that's your integrity. This is your character. If you can't trust yourself, who the hell else gonna trust you? You get me? Like, right here, this is clear as day. This is clear as day. Everything I see is clear now. I took myself out of my environment, and I say the funniest part for me is, like, I haven't made an irrational decision in like a month. You get me? Because I have time to sit there and think. I don't feel pressured. You get me? Everything that I do is coming from a clear space. Because once this space is clear, then you can make it and your playing field is even. You get me? And that's the biggest part of why I decided to make that move, is so that I can get myself out of my comfort zone. I'm uncomfortable. I'm learning. This is new to me. There's the hoops that I'm jumping through that's new to me. But at the end of the day, I know that it's all gonna pay off. Because guess what? I'm not working this hard for nothing. You get me? Like, there's things that's up here that I sat here and I'm talking about the first couple weeks, I was like, dang, I regret, I should do this different, but I can honestly say one thing for sure, my anxiety level ain't went up. And yes, I have anxiety, like I know it. I haven't been diagnosed with it, but I know for a fact I have an anxiety because it's like the way that my body feels, how cherry red my face can get, how hot my face gets, and then I start moving a certain way. Like, so I know, like I can diagnose myself to know that I got something wrong, you get me? But taking myself out of my comfort zone, allowing myself to sit here and sit in my own clear space, I've realized I can handle myself, you get me? And that's the hardest part for people to say. They're scared to handle themselves, they're scared to be in their own mind, they're scared to, especially in their own mind, they're scared to sit there and talk to themselves. You get me? Like, and I'm not saying crazy talk to yourself, but I'm saying like lay it on the table, write it down. You get me? Like, you ain't always got to have a listening ear. Write it down because that paper's your listening ear. You get me? All I'm saying is just trust yourself. It's like when you trust yourself, like everything, like I keep saying, everything comes clear mind, but trusting yourself just means that your character is intact. You get me? Trusting yourself, making that decision, because you're only making a decision that's supposed to be safe for you. You're not going to make a decision that's going to harm you. You get me? So trusting yourself just knows that if you can trust yourself, other people can trust yourself. Therefore, your credit is your credit. And I mean your character, your credit, everything. Like, you're good. You're good in people's books. You get me? And I'm not saying that that's what we out here, the end game is to always be good in somebody's book. But what I'm saying is for yourself and for your being. And, like, even if it's your family, they know they can trust you. You get me? Like, but again, fall right back in full circle. Just don't let anybody discredit you. Don't let anybody tell you about you, because you can only tell you about yourself. They're not walking in your shoes. They can't